In my life, I try and avoid things that are stupid and evil and make me look bad in comparison with somebody else. And Bitcoin does all three. Bitcoin is worthless artificial gold, which, if it succeeded, would facilitate a lot of illicit activity. Now, that is not something I think the world needs. And the fact that it's clever computer science doesn't mean that it should be widely used and that respectable people should encourage other people to speculate in it. Bitcoin reminds me of Oscar Wilde's definition of fox hunting, the pursuit of the uneatable by the unspeakable. I think it's a scumball activity. Does that serve you better?
Thank you. Yeah, we asked earlier about Goldman Sachs getting into the business of having a trading desk for Bitcoin. Berkshire Hathaway owns about $2.5 billion of Goldman Sachs. Does it bother you, or does it not surprise you?
Well, I don't expect every investment bank to agree with everything I think. They have a lot of animal spirits in investment banking.
When you criticize their investment, if they get mad, they're gambling. If somebody criticizes Apple or Berkshire, we like it. I mean, if the stock goes down, we'll buy more of it because we don't care whether it's just we don't feel that it has anything to do with it. But if we criticize something that they own because they only want it to go up tomorrow, they feel we are hurting them, and therefore they get very upset about it. If they really like what they own, what difference would it make? If I criticize their wife or something, they don't get all upset about it.
Wait a minute. That's a bad habit.
Yeah, probably not the perfect example to use.
In my life, I try and avoid things that are stupid, evil, and make me look bad in comparison with somebody else. And Bitcoin does all three. and in the first place, it's stupid because it's very likely to go to zero. The second place is evil because it undermines the Federal Reserve System and the national currency system, which we desperately need to maintain its integrity and government control and so on. And third, it makes us look foolish compared to the communist leader in China. He was smart enough to ban Bitcoin in China. And with all of our presumed advantages of civilization, we are a lot dumber than the communist leader in China.
Yeah, and when 25% of the people of the country get mad because we've said what we've said today, just remember Charlie spoke last and was the most... The one development that I really do think is actually important, but I don't know any way to do anything about it. But my general sense, and there's no way to prove it, but I essentially believe people are now behaving somewhat more tribal than they have for a long time. And I mean, people are always going to be partisan, and they're going to have religious beliefs, they're going to have all kinds of things, but it gets pretty tribal. And I want to tell you, I speak from experience because I've been tribal, and we're confessing today. Nebraska football is tribal. And when I watch a television set and I see our guys Nebraska step out of bounds by a foot, but somehow the ref misses it and calls it in, and then they show 6 replays, I'll continue to believe it was in, even though it's right in front of my eyes. They stepped out. That's tribal behavior. And it's fun. I mean, to participate in. But it can get very dangerous when one group of people say 2 + 2 is 5, and another say it's 2 + 2 is 3, and they're going to give you those answers if you call them. And the interesting thing is, to me, at least, and partly because of my age, but I actually think that, just from memory, that the last time that the country was seen as tribal was actually when I was a kid and Roosevelt was in. Either you hated Roosevelt or you loved him. I mean, nobody cared about the fact Alf Landon was running or Wendell Willkie was running against him. They just had these feelings. They either had Roosevelt's picture on the wall and named their kids after Roosevelt, or they hated him. And they thought he was going to, no third term, and, I mean, a million things. And the country was very, very tribal in the 30s, but Roosevelt's tribe was bigger. And in my opinion, they did some wonderful things, but I happened to grow up in a household where we didn't get served dessert until we said something nasty about Roosevelt. I mean, I'm speaking. And believe me, if you don't get dessert, you're going to say something nasty about Roosevelt. And so you trained them young, and all kinds of things. And so I think I've seen a period that it wasn't that way when, if Eisenhower was running against Stevenson or whatever it might be. I mean, people, they had a partisan behavior, and they had a certain amount of tribal always, but I don't think it's a good development for society generally when people get tribal regardless. I mean,
What I absolutely love about Warren Buffett's content is that he gives a take that was relevant 100 years ago, it's relevant right now, and it's going to be relevant 100 years from now as well. And that is exactly why you should subscribe to this channel, is because we provide so much amazing content just like this, talking about the stock market, finance, and all of that, and we try to make every single video that will be relevant 100 years from now as it is relevant right now today. Thanks so much once again for checking out this video of income views. Remember to subscribe. If you can't subscribe, I cannot continue making videos just like this one for you. Also remember to click the like button and also comment as to what you think of this video and what else you would like to see in terms of personal finance, Warren Buffett content, and so much more, because we cover it all on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.